Non. Pour la façon qu'elle courait, je crois qu'elle a vu.
Bonjour, je m'appelle Moshe. Aujourd'hui, je host des créatures mythiques. Today, in addition to hunting squirrels, I'm hunting mythical creatures. Today I'm down in the creek bottom of Bell Cow Creek that runs through my property and eventually joins into the Deep Fork River, which technically is known as the Deep Fork of the Canadian. And the Canadian River is one that was first explored by French explorers, especially the Mollet brothers, as they worked their way back from Santa Fe, New Mexico to New Orleans, of which they would have crossed the central part of modern day Oklahoma. I'm kind of immersing myself in my 18th century Coeur de Bois persona as I'm treading some of the same land that was possibly traversed by the Mollet brothers. Being out here in this environment today, even on a kind of a blustery, cold, overcast day, it's really like a walk in the park for us. But for these French explorers, it was a whole different scenario. They were faced by man-made dangers through the indigenous people like the Caddo, the Pawnee, which would be the Wichita, and other tribes that occupied the area. But also strange creatures that they maybe have never encountered before. They referred to buffalo, or as they called them, bison, which is where I guess we get the word bison, or boeuf. That's what they would say it in French. They encountered other creatures that, while not totally unknown to them, because they probably did exist in the old world, they certainly carried some of those perceptions of creatures into the new world. Now, one of those creatures was what they refer to as a licorne. We would call it a unicorn. Now, before you roll your eyes and say, obviously they're mistaken, or there's some kind of lost in translation from French to English, they went on to describe pretty thoroughly exactly what it was that they were after. Now, they first came upon an instance where a subsect or a subgroup of the Caddo tribe was smoking said creature. And they went on to describe exactly what they were looking at. And here's what it said. An animal as big as a medium horse, its hair is red, of the same color and length as that of goats, and it has a slender leg. The straight horn is in the middle of its forehead, half of it's long. Its meat is very delicious. And before we dismiss that as just some rube telling tall tales, that account was actually written by the Sieur de Bienville, who was the founder of New Orleans. He was traveling up what would be the Ouachita River, which is in, most likely, present-day Arkansas. In the same narrative, he explains that they travel through hills, opening up into plains, followed by woods and mountains. That could be western Arkansas, or it could also be eastern Oklahoma.
Now, the unicorn was certainly nothing unique to the New World. Art from the Old World often included what can only be described as unicorns. They are often shown in paintings, tapestries, drawings of animals, much like what was described being cooked by the natives in Bienville's account. Another account, and a visual glimpse of these creatures, is a sketch drawn by French Franciscan monk Louis Nicolas, as he documented the flora and fauna of New France that he had personally seen. The document is in a collection of the art of the Gilcrease Museum in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Unfortunately, I was not able to personally inspect this work as the museum is currently closed to the public while undergoing a complete facility transformation. However, the online version of Nicholas's work, The Unicorn, shares pages with beavers, rattlesnakes, bison, and even a spotted ocelot. Nicholas captured the unicorn with very much the same characteristics as seen in other contemporary pieces, but since he was not formally trained as an artist, he may have used their work or that of other artists as a reference to draw what he saw. If we want to look even further into the authoritative accounts of unicorns, we need only look to the Bible.
Earlier versions of the Bible that predate the King James Version contain at least 10 instances where the word unicorn is used. The Geneva translation, as well as the King James, French Martin, 1395 Wycliffe, and the 1525 Tyndale, and others, all contain texts that refer to unicorns. The 1702 French translation was done by Protestant pastor David Martin and was based on a revision of the previous 16th century Geneva Bible using the best Hebrew and Greek text available at the time. The French Martin 1744 translation is still available today on the YouVersion app and is shown here on the right.
Now I've stepped out of my 18th century persona and I'm out here taking advantages of modern conveniences and modern apparel, and it makes me somewhat appreciative of what those 18th century explorers had to go through. We have the luxury of stepping out of ourselves like that, and it's easy for us to criticize these guys for what they saw or what they thought they saw, what they believed, and they may have. The thing is that we have become so reliant upon our modern technology, our modern conveniences, and our modern experts that we don't question things anymore. But I think that's what I've been trying to say with this video, is that do I think unicorns believe? Or do I think unicorns existed? I think they did. There's a famous quote, or at least famous from my research, from Louis Nicolas, and he says,
I do not know what to say about the appalling error that has crept into even the most learned people who are otherwise very knowledgeable, but have seen nothing of the admirable things produced by nature, because they have never lost sight of their parish church tower, who hardly know how to get to the Place Maubert or the Place Royale, without asking the way. I say that these people are stubborn to insist that there's no unicorn anywhere in the world.